Hey there, and thanks for joining us on GamePoints, our weekly get-together, rather, where we talk about the past weeks in gaming news. I am, as always, your host, Stephen Brown. Joining me today is Sean Brown, and, well, David is not here. He's out somewhere in the great wilderness being picked up by Fulton extract off to somewhere. God fucking knows where, but hopefully he'll be back with us next week. Tonight, we're going to talk about some legal jargon, including court findings of O'Donnell versus Bungie, FTC going after Machinima, and probably some Destiny stuff. But first, right away, I want to go ahead and say we had some breaking news happen about an hour or two ago, is that The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth finally has a release date. It's going to come out on Steam October 30th and will cost $10. No word on consoles. I just wanted to go ahead and get that out there because I didn't have time to set up any cool little graphics or anything for it. It dropped about an hour or so ago before we went live. So there's that. We got that out of the way. Sean, how's Metal Gear treating you?
Dude, I'm like always pointed true north right now. It's so hard. I've put 22 hours in that game and I'm 7% done with the game.
Yeah, I think I'm like at 8 or 9, but very similar on time clock. By the way, if you're watching, don't worry, we're not going to spoil anything. If we do even discuss it, it won't go past mission 11, if we even get into it that much.
I won't even talk about story that much.
Favorite moment so far that's non-story related?
Favorite moment so far, non-story related. I like the fact that you can stun people by dropping crates on them.
Fair enough. My favorite moment, and if I was thinking about it, I would have hit the record button, but I didn't, unfortunately, on the PlayStation 4, was there was this one mission where I had to assassinate these 3 commanders or pick them up or just eliminate them.
Yes.
So anyway,
yeah.
And I'm riding on my horse, and I see the Jeep heading to the point, so I'm like, okay, I want to knock this guy out before they get there, but I needed to stop the Jeep, and I didn't want to like just run up there with the horse, so I pull out my sniper rifle while on horseback, thinking maybe if I just take a shot at the Jeep, it will cause the Jeep to stop and them all to get out. But as I have the sniper rifle out, I'm hauling ass on the horse, so it's bouncing up and down like this on the scope, and I pull the trigger, and the shot is so perfect, it goes through the driver's head and the target's head in one shot. And I was like, well, shit.
I placed up on a rock.
I wish people were watching that.
I placed up on a rock and just murdered the driver, and the dude like got out of the car and like posted up, and I just went up to him and like knocked him the fuck out.
Well, my whole goal wasn't even to shoot them. It was to shoot like the Jeep itself and hope they would like stop and get out. But instead, I was just jerking up and down and just headshotted 2 people with one shot completely accidentally. So, anyways, the point of all of this is that so far the best part of the entirety of Metal Gear Solid 5 isn't the story. The story is there. It's passable. It's Metal Gear, so it's going to be really weird. The best part of it all are these random-ass moments you'll run into with its gameplay.
The encounters are really good.
Yes, very, very well designed. But anyways, that's enough of Metal Gear. As you can see, we're down 1 co-host, so it's going to be maybe an abbreviated show, maybe not. We've done it before. We'll see how it goes. But if you are watching us live, feel free to join in the chat. And if you're watching us later on YouTube, feel free to add, comment, like, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff that you normally do. Let's go ahead and get right on with the news of the week, and we're going to start with the Halo 5 cinematic trailer dropping sometime last week. It looks really damn good. I haven't been this excited for a Halo since Halo 2.
I've been saying this for a few months now that I'm probably going to buy an Xbox One just because of this game.
As you can see right now, they got the trailer going for it. It's dealing with Team Lock. They have an official name. It's either like Red Team or Blue Team. I can't remember what. But it's got Buck, and it's got a couple of female Spartans in there, which props on Bungie for having in there. But goddamn, I watched this trailer, and I'm like, yes, I want a full movie with just this.
Is it Team Infinite?
Well, they're on the Infinity. They're based out of the Infinity.
Okay, that's what it is.
I know that neither one of us are quite like boned up on the lore or anything like that from Halo. Like, we know enough about it to get away in casual conversation.
I know a shit ton
versed in it.
Up to 3 in ODST, but I didn't get to play 4 because I just didn't play 4.
Now, one thing I did want to mention about seeing this trailer is that Microsoft's been very stingy with showing anything with Master Chief in it.
That's what I was going to bring up. Okay.
So this is what you're going to bring up. All right.
Yeah. So the entire trailer looks great without even showing the main antagonist of the entire series.
You mean protagonist?
Yeah, that's an antagonist, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on who you're playing on Halo 5.
It really depends now. But they do such a great job of hyping this game without even showing the main character. There's not many things, not even movies that really do that.
Yeah, they're doing the only thing I can think of, by the way, David's actually in chat right now saying
I see his bitch ass
shit on phone, so get a better phone or don't watch it on mobile.
What's that? We're gonna...
Now, the entire marketing campaign for Halo 5 has been very Master Chief light. When they first announced it, you see him walking in the desert, and that was essentially all you saw of him. Then they started talking about Locke and how Master Chief's a traitor, and they've been hunting him down. They had that one brief advertising campaign. I want to say, when was it? When they had the two simultaneous trailer drop. Was it during E3?
Yes.
When it had the Locke trailer where Locke was walking up on an injured Master Chief, and then an hour later, they showed the other side of the trailer with Master Chief walking up to the injured Locke. But that's the extent we've seen of the Chief in the Halo marketing right now. They're really focused on Locke, which makes me wonder exactly where they're going for this. And honestly, if they're trying to build up hype, it's working for me because I'm really, really excited to see where they go with this.
My only worry is they do too much of it and do a Metal Gear Solid 2 where there was just too much Raiden.
Okay.
Kind of thing. Where I'm playing Halo because I want to be John 117. Halo 3 pissed me off so much because I was playing the Arbiter for half of it. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, Locke and the other Spartans badass, way better than the Arbiter, but I need me some John 117 action.
Halo 2, right? Was the Arbiter playable in Halo 3? I know he wasn't 2.
I thought it was 3. That's my bad.
This is one of those things that I know until I'm actually asked about. But Halo 2 and 3 very much blur together for me because they're kind of the same. It's Halo 2 and Halo 2.5, essentially.
It's Pirates of the Caribbean 2 and 3 compared to Pirates of the Caribbean 1.
Yeah, they were both very tight together. I understand your reference. I completely agree. That's absolutely right. But yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. Plus, I mean, Buck. I mean, it's Nathan Fillion, and it looks like Nathan Fillion. You could tell they had him in the studio doing the mocap for it.
Yeah. Played him in 2.
Aaron Porter from chat is saying we played him in 2.
I couldn't remember. Yeah, I couldn't remember the show.
So, I'm not busting your balls, but we try to be
yeah.
GamePoints.
I honestly couldn't remember.
Angry fan letters.
We aim to misbehave.
We aim for mediocrity is what we aim for.
That was a Nathan Fillion reference. I really like the voice acting crew in this game too. I actually really like Lauren Bailey too.
Yeah, Laura Bailey. I don't know what she's playing. We think she's playing someone in it.
I'm almost
I can look it up, but I'm not going to right now.
She's one of the Spartans.
I can definitely look it up.
Looks like her,
but we'll find out later.
Yeah.
But anyways, while we're talking about Microsoft, Halo, and all that good stuff, we had some developments in the Bungie court case versus Marty O'Donnell. Now, for those of you who don't know, and this is going to take a very long time, forgive me, but it's something that I think is kind of important. It's a very interesting look behind the scenes. All this comes from VentureBeat, an article they did. Let me go ahead and bring up that article right here if you want to take a full look at it. But essentially what happened is that the man behind the music to Destiny and Halo is a fellow by the name of Marty O'Donnell. And he has been with Bungie for years and years, well before they got bought up by Activision. And essentially, he was fired. They got rid of him, and no one was really sure why. And then he sued Bungie over wrongful termination, and it just all went straight to hell after that. Well, that court case has been adjudicated, and the court fines for Marty O'Donnell. So he's going to get a bunch of cash owed to him, and he's going to get a bunch of stocks back. So let's break down exactly what happened for those of you who might not know what this is all about. Essentially, back in the spring of 2014, O'Donnell and Bungie parted ways. What happened was that Bungie asked O'Donnell to create music for Destiny, or the entire franchise, and he was down to do that. He absolutely loved it. So rather than writing themes one at a time for each of the games, he wrote this big-ass symphonic suite called The Music of the Spheres. And this is what he did with Paul McCartney. You might remember the marketing back for that when they had Paul McCartney on there. And he recorded it back in early 2013, and he was like, yes, this is it. This is my magnum opus. This is going to be what defines the music for Destiny, the way the Halo theme defines Halo. I mean, you can't think of Halo without hearing that operatic chorus at the beginning. So this man is very talented. He has a lot of oomph behind the games that come out. Well, what happened was that Activision, who owned Bungie at this time, they weren't too keen on releasing this as a standalone work. He wanted it to be his magnum opus. Activision was like, no, we're not into it. So what happened was they were going to play O'Donnell's music during the reveal trailer at E3 back in 2014, I believe it was, when they revealed, or not revealed, but when they were talking about dates and everything like that. And Activision cut his music and put their own music in. Kind of a dick move. But what happened was that pissed O'Donnell off, and he was just like, fuck Activision, fucked all this. They're stepping into Bungie's creative directions. It's an overstep of their contract. He got pissed off, so he was tweeting out during the E3 presentation, this is not my music. Activision sucks dick. He was interrupting press briefings left and right. He kept trying to keep trailers from coming out. He was doing all this disruptive shit behind the scenes. And Bungie management went, okay, you've crossed the line here. We're going to let you go. I mean,
sounds like both parties were.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like both.
It's parties. Very immature way to act, though.
Activision screwed Marty O'Donnell over, and it sounds like it's. I'd be absolutely pissed. But you then don't go out to try to sabotage your project afterwards. You deal with it internally, and he was very public about it. I don't want to quite use the word temper tantrum, but that's kind of what it was.
A little bit.
And all this built up till April 11th, 2014, when Bungie fired O'Donnell without cause. Which, hey, a lot of states are at work. You can just let someone go. Here's where the problem of the lawsuit came in. O'Donnell's original stock ownership agreement held that O'Donnell would give up his unvested founder shares if he left voluntarily. This wasn't him leaving voluntarily.
He got fired.
Yeah, he got fired. Bungie, however, chose not to pay him for his accrued unused vacation time, which was like $120,000, unless he waived that stock option there, which you can't do.
Yeah, it seemed,
at least in California. I don't know about Washington laws. This takes place in Washington. It's a Washington company.
It's close to Canada.
Well, I mean, just because it's close to Canada doesn't mean Canadian laws in there. But states do very
I'm sure they do.
I know in California, you sure as hell can't do that. You have to pay out vacation time, and you can't hold it ransom. And the courts agreed. He is getting his vacation time. He's getting to keep his vested stock. Keep in mind, Bungie is not a publicly traded company, so that stock is probably worth significant in value, and especially if they ever do go public, it's going to shoot up high. But for the most part, O'Donnell won everything he asked for. The only thing he doesn't get to do is release his magnum opus. He doesn't get to release Music of the Spheres on CD at all. In fact, he has to ask for Activision and Bungie's permission to do anything with it.
Which sucks because like his Gregorian chants are insanely good for when it comes like that's what you think of when you play Halo. That's one of the big things you think of when you play Halo is the Gregorian chants that he kind of made famous.
Yeah, that intro, the
it sounded like nailed it.
Yeah, totally nailed it. I'm great. What happened is I actually started thinking of the Hymn of the Faith from Final Fantasy X, and it started screwing that up. But yeah, this is a very interesting look behind what is normally a very closed-door industry. I mean, very little information that isn't controlled by the publishers gets released into the public like this. So it's I thought it was very cool to see happen. It sucks for all involved. I definitely think Marty O'Donnell behaved, if you're reading the court documents, which I'll link in the YouTube comments down below, or the YouTube description are down below so you can actually read the entire filing. He behaved like a jackass. He behaved like a child, but he was legally right. You can't just blackmail someone to give up their stock options for their unused vacation time. He's entitled to both.
Yeah.
So it's a shitty situation all around. In the end, Bungie will still make a shit ton of money. In the end, I think O'Donnell has his own game company he started up now, and you will have some publisher somewhere back the money truck up to him just because his name alone is so big.
Just go to VGA. Fuck it.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
PGL. That's what I would say.
while on the topic of this specific court case, something interesting did leak out. If you read the documents, you will find out that Bungie's development of Destiny was pretty troubled, and that the story actually had a major rewrite. This was something that Bungie has denied repeatedly in the past, but the court documents prove that they were kind of lying about that the story underwent major rewrites, which explains a lot of the gaps in the story, why it seems very ham-fisted and thrown together at the last second, because, well, it was thrown together at the last second.
Do you think that's why Peter Dinklage's performance was very subpar? Because he probably had to do so many scenes over and over again?
100% say this is why, but I can say this could have. I mean, it's very reasonable to assume that's what happened. He's
too good of an actor from what I've seen, and he seems like a pretty stand-up dude to phone it in like he did.
What probably happened is he probably did a lot of lines great, and then they rewrote it, and they had to bring him back in, but they had a little bit limited time. And keep in mind, this is all theory at this point.
Yeah, we're just guessing.
But they go, hey, we need you to come in real quick and do some relines, and we have 2 days to do it.
Yeah, and he's probably on the wall or some shit to the north at the time.
Yeah. I was about to make a Pink Floyd reference, and I couldn't fucking get it out.
That's cool. That works too. I'm down.
So, yeah, this whole thing is just kind of a clusterfuck.
Oh my god. Great t-shirt idea. Pink Floyd's The Wall, and just have fucking The Night's Watch on there. That's genius.
Yeah, no, that would
just have hammers marching in front of the wall.
Or it's Jon Snow, instead of a bunch of White Walkers, it's a bunch of those hammers walking toward him.
Yeah, like, that's cash money.
That would be good. Oh, man. Patent pending.
Get on that, yeah.
Someone
get on that, but we get...
JSP Technologies.
Yeah.
So,
take a peek, Altron.
So if you're wondering why the Destiny story seemed to be a complete and total hot mess, well, there you go. It's because it was rewritten last minute. They denied they rewrote it. The court documents claim otherwise and prove otherwise. So don't necessarily believe what you're told by publishers when it comes to problems with their games.
The dirty liars.
Now, there was a theory going around that the original plot to Destiny, and this is really getting way into the weeds, so it makes sense, was that the Queen's brother was supposed to be the equivalent of the Stranger, if you played through the campaign. And he was known as, like, the Master of Crows or something like that. And you worked with him to uncover that it was the Traveler itself that brought the darkness to Earth and was trying to wipe out humans. Like, it raises people up and then consumes them or some shit like that once it hits a certain level. And that the Hive was coming to reawaken the Traveler. So you're supposed to find out that that big giant white ball floating above everything was the bad guy.
What a dick.
But this is all fan theory crafting right now if you want to get way deep into the Bungie forum posts. I don't know if that's true or not at all, because we'll never know what the original story was. Though, if you get way deep into the Codex cards, the Grimoire cards, it definitely backs that theory up.
Feels that way.
But yeah, so Destiny, while we're on the topic of it, they have their big expansion coming out, and tomorrow they're going to release the Destiny 2.0 patch. Think World of Warcraft. You know, right when they are about to release an expansion, they have like the event the week before the expansion comes out,
where they release all the new talents. It's basically the expansion, but before the expansion comes out.
Here's the mechanic update before we release the content update.
Yeah.
And that's what happens tomorrow, Tuesday, September 8th, if you're watching this not live.
Which is a really good way of doing things, too, because it gives players time to learn the new talents and understand build paths before you're thrown into the actual game.
Absolutely. I like it. Plus, it's less of a patch load. You're taking the patch and putting it into two separate downloads. But anyways, there's a whole bunch of new stuff coming out tomorrow. But one of the things that caught my eye was the fact that they're introducing the equivalent of a mercy rule. If you go to Bungie.net on their official forums here, I don't have that up here. This is the trailer for something else instead, so we'll keep this running while that's going. But if you take a look at their forums, they break down essentially what this mercy rule is going to be. Long story short is if you're getting your ass handed to you really hard in a PvP map in the Crucible, then the game is going to cut down to 10 seconds and end, and everyone gets full rewards. It's essentially designed to keep people from going, okay, this isn't fun, and I don't want to have to fucking do this for 10 minutes as I get my ass handed to me, but I don't want to quit and not get my goodies for it. It's supposed to serve 3 goals. 1, end bad matches as quickly as possible. 2, give players full end-of-match rewards to discourage quitting. And 3, reduce the number of players who are joined into bad games via join in progress. Essentially, that last one is when you join a game halfway through and it's just already a landslide.
Yeah. So, a few thoughts on this. One, I actually kind of like the idea because you have to do multiplayer in this game to get some stuff unlocked. So it kind of shortens the time on that.
Well, not only that, but let's face it, multiplayer is a big component of this game. This isn't one of those things where it's like, oh, I'm going to buy this MMO and only do a single campaign. No, the multiplayer is, if anything, probably the bigger selling point to it. And
it's actually pretty damn good. I wish they would balance I wish they would make everyone use the same gun in multiplayer, but that's fine. Like, I can get past that. But like, I think every game at this point should have either a surrender vote or a rule like this. So you have to have something that shortens the matchup, though. Like, MOBAs, pretty much all of them have surrender votes in them. I think this is actually a really good idea for first-person shooters to take course in. Like, if you're just getting the shit on just in the game, but give you still the full points you deserve.
I agree, but before you get to your next topic here, I want to throw a caveat in there. When it's something that rewards gear for completing it, it can't be in the player's hands. It does have to be automated, or else you have people joining it and immediately surrendering.
Yeah, and surrendering.
But so usually you have to have like a computer algorithm to keep track of it.
Usually on surrender votes, though, you have to play for a certain amount of time before you can surrender.
Okay.
And MOBAs, like in League of Legends, you have to wait until 20 minutes before you can surrender. So like, there's usually stipulations put in place before you can actually just surrender in general. So they've most people have kind of already thought of that.
All right. Your next point, or was that it? And I just kind of run into. Okay. I like it, and I'm especially hoping that it does cut down on the joining matches that are already lopsided and on tilt, because it's not like Destiny has the longest server load times, but it does take a while to get into a match every now and then. You are waiting, and it sucks to get in there and then go, oh, there's 2 minutes left, and it's fucking like 5,000 points to 19,000 points, and it's just like, why even bother? I just wasted all that time.
Yeah. To be fair, you usually still got medals for either losing or winning those games, though, which you turned in. So every now and then, it's actually nice to do so.
It depended on when you drop in, yeah.
Yeah.
But we shall see if this is going to help balance that out some. I personally fully support it. I know that some of the more hardcore people are like, no, I want to grind someone in the dirt, etc., etc. So it's like, okay, cool, you did that. Why drag it out? Yeah. Also, I've heard the argument getting tossed around about how, like for example, how can I put this? I'm fine with this kind of implement being put in here, but I hate mercy rules in sports in general.
You usually don't see it in most things unless it's Little League.
Yeah, and that's why I'm going, like high school and Little League stuff. Because I think
even high school you don't see it.
Yeah, you don't see it often, but it does happen. Because I think actually playing through the entire game and the condition of your team having to physically do that is part of the slog through all that.
Yeah.
So actually, you can't compare it to real-life sports.
And I should have brought that up earlier, too. When we play League, like, there's some games that we're getting beat, like, pretty bad, but I want to play out because I can practice mechanics and playing the situations from behind. You can't get that experience if you're just going to keep giving up. Like, I've played games in multiplayer games that on the highest levels, at the worst levels, where we were getting dumpstered and we came back and won still.
Dude, getting my board games, like strategy board games, like Axis and Allies of Risk, getting my ass handed to me, sometimes I go, no, I want to play this out so I can see how to fight a losing battle and try to recover from it. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's not necessarily something I always want to do. Though, in this case, I think this particular instance, this is a good idea. By no means take this and go, oh, Stephen Brown wants to mercy rule and everything, you fucking assholes out there. I know you're watching.
Hyperbole.
Hyperbole always make you look like a jackass.
Yeah, it really does. So, because we're also in the same boat that if you're in a Little League team and your team doesn't win the championship, you don't get trophies. Don't give them trophies. They don't.
Yeah,
they don't
I mean, to
them.
get really off topic, yeah, same boat. You
same
don't
kind
get
of
9th place participation trophies, and mercy rule shouldn't apply in that. Oh, but it makes them feel bad. Well, life makes you feel bad.
Yeah,
but once again, to establish, we think this is a good idea. for this game.
Yeah.
Don't go all nuts and say, "Oh, let's put it to everything." Fuck. I believe in the slippery slope. This has nothing to do with that.
And if Destiny ever becomes like a professional, like an MLG game, they need to take this rule out. Absolutely. You should never be able to do that in pro games.
Absolutely. And that's the difference. That's that this isn't professional play. This is a fucking casual hobby.
Yeah.
Anyways, speaking of casual hobbies, MMOs, of course, time sinks left and right.
Casual.
People hop in, hop out, do whatever they want. I'm kind of rambling now, but the point is Wildstar is going free to play. See, check out that smooth transition there. But yeah, Wildstar is an MMO that came out. It has cute little bunny characters in it as one of the races. But they're going free to play according to their official Twitter, which you can see right here, starting September 29th. No word on if it's going to be subless or just flat out you buy the game and keep it. They really didn't release details on that. So I don't know if it's true free to play or buy the game and play for free that way. But this isn't a conversation about Wildstar. This is a conversation about the subscription model for MMOs in general and how it just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. The only game I can think of that sells subscription-based that still gets a lot of people is World of Warcraft.
Yeah, and even that's... I think it's like
Fantasy 14.
I think it's at a third of what their cap was. I think World of Warcraft capped that at like 14 million subs, and they're down to
still a shit ton of people.
Yeah. 6 million is still a lot. 6 million's at... What is it? $80 a year? If you go, I don't even know what the subscription model for Warcraft is anymore.
$15 a month still.
$15 a month, but if you buy it in a year, I think you get a discount.
You do. I can't remember what it is.
Either way, $15. Yeah. Let's say $15. Let's say $10 a month if you buy it yearly. That's $120 a person. You multiply that by 6 million.
Also, so 6 million people still play World of Warcraft, a game that's 11 years old now. Dead Space 2 sold 5 million copies total.
No.
I thought that's what they...
No, Dead Space 3 had to sell 5 million to be considered a success, and it didn't.
Yeah, well, there you go. Even more to my point.
Yeah, so 5 million's a lot. 5 to 6 million active subs is a lot. And that's a reoccurring monthly fee. So anyways, 6 million is still a lot, but that's World of Warcraft. MMOs aren't World of Warcraft in general, and I can't think of a single MMO right now that has a sub beyond Final Fantasy XIV, World of Warcraft, and EVE Online. And ones that do go free to play. I'm convinced Final Fantasy XIV will go free to play. EVE Online is its own separate beast into itself, so that is the outlier. That's the exception that proves the rule. And
even in EVE Online and World of Warcraft now, you can play for free if you put the time into the game.
Very true. You can use in-game currency to buy game time.
I haven't played for WoW in the last 3 months. I've actually played the game because of just in-game currency.
David's saying he called this in Guild Wars 2, but if you want to go ahead and give a little bit more detail exactly what you called, we can talk about some because that's a little vague.
Wildstar going free to play. I'm pretty sure that's what he's talking about from last week.
Possibly. Just the chat says call this of Guild Wars 2. I don't know what that's in reference to, unfortunately. The delay. It is what it is. But yeah.
You're a bitch.
Subscriptions are... They're dead. Don't release a subscription fee with your game. Knights of the Old Republic wouldn't be a joke if it wouldn't have had a subscription fee when it came out. If it would have came out free to play to begin with, I think people would be a lot more receptive to it. Instead, what happened is they tried doing the sub thing. It didn't work out well for them. They went free to play, and now everyone kind of looks at the Old Republic as the MMO that could have been, when it's a passable MMO to begin with. They just screwed up in its marketing.
Yeah.
So that's how MMOs are these days, ladies and gentlemen. When you have League of Legends showing people how to make a lot of money without charging anyone anything for the most part. There you go.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on the topic, Sean, before we move on?
No, I honestly think World of Warcraft will eventually become free to play when they focus on something else. And like not anytime soon, but like, 2 years from now.
Well, we'll find out because right now Blizzard is working on the next Starcraft chapter, Starcraft 2, Legacy of the Void. And we should be getting a release date very, very soon. Let's see if I can actually pull up their site without pulling up a trailer. Here we go.
September 13th.
At Battle.net, save the date. You're invited to a Legacy of the Void world premiere. They're essentially going to be doing a whole bunch of information related to it, and this is going to happen September 13th, 2015. That puts it Sunday, so we'll be sure to talk about it next week.
Sunday.
In depth on the next show. If you read here, you can see it's going to have the world premiere of the Legacy of the Void, cinematic and launch date, preview of units coming out, as well as the Starcraft WCS Season 3 Finals live from Poland at their Twitch channel. You can check that out September 13th, 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I think that's what we determined PDT is.
Yes.
It's just weird to hear it that way. I'm used to it being PST. So, yeah, the StarCraft release is on 9. This is where I make a GamePoints prediction. So far, I have been actually very spot on with my release dates. I am going to predict that Legacy of the Void will be released on October 13th. 1 month exactly from that date. That makes it a Tuesday.
Let me see. I think it's going to be... Let's see. December 8th.
December 8th, like way down there?
They just like December releases. Late November, December. That's the Blizzard thing.
Fair enough. I still think it's going to be sooner than that. I think it's going to be 1 month. I would say 2 months, but that puts it right in the middle of its very congested territory. That puts it in Fallout zone, and not even StarCraft wants to go up against that. I'm going to say October 13th.
It's the Jeopardy thing, dude. I can't bet money on something you already said.
Fair enough. No, I get it.
December 8th.
So I'm going to say this one more time so I got a nice, clear cut of this. Legacy of the Void will release October 13th, 2015.
I like Will Chobra. Chobra's doing the announcement thing, too. He used to work for OGN. He used to be the Korean translator.
Oh, and he's going to be there hosting the Twitch stream. Cool.
Really cool dude.
Well, we'll definitely find out 10 a.m. this Sunday. And...
Sunday.
Yeah,
Sunday.
This is complete just pulling that data out of my ass, though. Once again, I need to remind the channel I did call Fallout's release date like a good 8 months in advance.
December 8th.
Anyways, and we've been on a tear about Konami lately because, well, fuck Konami, right? But there's another Japanese company that we all used to hate as well for the longest time, and they were called Capcom. And I shouldn't say were called. They still are called Capcom. However, Capcom's done this really cool thing where they actually started listening to the fans. And they have some Resident Evil news that they dropped out last week. First off, Resident Evil 0. We already knew this was coming. They're doing an HD version of Resident Evil 0. Should be out on PCs early in the year. And it's actually going to come with... Oh, I've got the loud... There we go. Had the music turned on. They're going to release a Wesker mode with Resident Evil 0, where you get to play as Wesker. I don't know if the plot's going to change at all, though I'm kind of excited to do it.
So as I was watching this trailer, I was kind of confused because he doesn't get his Titan powers, or not Titan, Tyrant powers until the end of the first game. Yeah. So I'm kind of confused with what they're doing here. And that's clearly the castle from Zero. When he's running down the hallway there. So,
in addition, Rebecca has the Jill Valentine crystal from, what was it, 5 on her?
Yeah.
I think this is just an extra bonus game mode where you can play the Wesker powers on there. I don't think they're actually going to rewrite any kind of plot for this mode or anything like that. But still, fucking cool idea.
Yeah, I mean, awesome.
I'm down for it. I like that they're adding stuff. In addition, go ahead.
They know the fact that people love fucking Wesker, and they're going to give it to them.
Yeah. I'm fine with that. In addition, the remake HD release that they just did recently and the Zero HD release are going to get a physical collection January 19th, 2016 for $40 on disc for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, which I'm fucking down for too. That's something else they didn't need to do. Somewhere along the line, Capcom started listening to its fans, and it's fucking awesome.
I have to bring something up about Konami since we kind of mentioned it, and Smellier saw it. So, Konami... messing with our minds and stuff like that. So the beginning of Metal Gear Solid 5 made me hate Konami even more because I'm playing this. I guess I'm really watching this intro, kind of playing this intro to Metal Gear Solid 5, and the only thing I can think of is, dude, this is so bloody and gory. This would look amazing if this was Silent Hills.
Yeah.
Like, watch that trailer. Like, do that trailer again and be like, damn, like, This is what Silent Hills could have been. Is this first area?
Fuck Konami.
And now I'm even more mad because of it.
Yeah, fuck Konami. However, Capcom, it's easy to dismiss you now as a port factor where you're just going to remake your old stuff over and over again. But hey, that's what your fans are wanting at this point in time, and you're listening to them.
Far too.
With your Facebook posts about what would you like to see in a fucking Resident Evil 2 remake, and then they're like, "Hey, we do it," according to that guy's shirt.
Yeah.
I'm without words. You people are starting to right the ship. You people at Konami there, or Capcom, not Konami.
Do you feel like it's weird that like a Japanese company is doing this after most of them are so stubborn with kind of doing that it's weird to see a really major Japanese company doing this instead of a Western one?
Yes, and you're starting to see Square do this as well.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII kind of they finally just dropped anchor and like, fuck it, let's do it.
Well,
like,
Konami is kind of just going, fuck it, we're going to bounce out of the game industry completely for the most part. Square and Capcom are starting to go, okay, the Western developers are kicking our ass, and we need to do something dramatically to do this. And so they're starting to take in all this input, all this feedback, which they're normally very closed to begin with. So I'm very happy to see all that. I say that, though, about Square, though I will also give the caveat that Square still seems to be a situation of too many cooks. For example, you have stuff getting announced and being directed by people, and the person who's supposedly directing that game's like, "Oh, it's the first time I've heard of this." So
yeah, thinking about it, when they announced when they both did the Final Fantasy VII thing and Kingdom Hearts 3 thing in the same conference, I feel like they could have done a better job of that.
Well, also those games aren't going to see the light of day until 2020.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Like SquareSoft is.
Just be honest.
There's nothing coming out for Squaresoft for like another 3 years, it seems.
They have a bunch of smaller titles. They got like a bunch of the Dragon Quest stuff coming out, but their biggest game, Final Fantasy 15, I doubt that'll even be 2016.
Yeah.
That screams 2017 to me, despite what they're saying is working on it. But we'll see how all that shakes out. But yeah, Capcom, I'm liking you so far. Don't fuck this up. I like where you're going. Yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about that. We're going to move on to another topic that we've kind of beaten to death, but fuck, we have to talk about it, is that the interim patch for Batman has finally come out. If you want to take a look at the Steam forums right here, it talks about reduced frame hitches, optimizations for system memory and VRAM usage, improved performance on all GPUs, blah, 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 blah. Essentially, what this patch does, by the way, in September, a week after they promised, a week minimum after they promised it, because they said it was going to come out in August, in September, your game that you bought 3-4 months ago is finally playable. And I use playable in quotes here because it's still not optimized. This just lets you play the game you dropped $60 for on PC.
Yeah, it's not even running at like full frame rate still.
Yeah, it's still not fully optimized. So it's still a burning dumpster fire, but at least you can play what you paid for now, and hopefully they'll work out all the kinks and bugs to it before the end of the year, but we'll see how that goes.
What's up, Crystal Breaker 21?
Yeah, Craig Talop? Or is it there's no S in there.
Oh, never mind. I'm far away from my screen, man.
I'm going to say Crystal Breaker until I get a confirmation one way or another, but how you doing? Welcome to the chat. Hope you enjoy the show. One final bit of news that I want to talk about, and this kind of hits a little near dear to my heart, is the topic of disclosure. Now, the gaming press has a image of being in the pocket of publishers, and not an unearned image, I might add. There were a lot of shady things that has happened. If you've been paying attention to the gaming press for years, as long as I have, you might remember Gerstmann Gate back when Giant Bomb sacked him for the Kane Lynch review. You might remember Doritos Gate. There's all these gates out and about. Allegations of paid reviews. By the way, paid reviews really don't happen as much as people want to believe they do. But that doesn't necessarily... Saying all this, however, doesn't mean that there isn't some shady shit going on. And there is a lot of shady shit. And I honestly feel press and PR are a little too buddy-buddy for its own good. Especially when you have a lot of PR who used to work as former press.
Yeah.
In fact, gaming press seems to be a stepping stone into getting a PR gig. So there's some... as a whole, the gaming industry, the games journalism press tends to be very cliquish and very incestual, and there's a lot of nepotism that runs to it. I mean, just flat out, as someone who's only
Randy and a cigar when he said that. Gaming journalism.
Cry atoll breaker, by the way.
Cry atoll. That's what I said, motherfucker.
Okay, I'm not too sure what that may or may not refer to, but I like the name. Thanks for joining us. But it's also not this giant conspiracy that a lot of people think it is either. It's just it's just what happens when you have people who are a little too chummy with each other. And I feel that wall between press and PR is a little blurred in some cases.
Really bad in video games.
Yeah, I agree. But people go a little too far with their accusations on that as well, saying it's some massive conspiracy to do games. Anyways, that's going off on a tangent. What this whole thing was supposed to be is about the fact that a couple years ago, Machinima paid a bunch of people a bunch of their YouTube streamers to hype up the Xbox One, say only positive things about it, without disclosing that they were getting paid to do it. And the FTC cracked down on it and slapped Machinima with deceptive Xbox One ad campaign. This article from gamesindustry.biz, I'll go ahead and bring it up right here so you can see it, goes into details, and essentially what happened is that on September 2nd, which was Wednesday of last week, the Federal Trade Commission announced that it settled charges against Machinima for deceptive practices. Long story short, they said that Machinima paid 5 of its YouTube personalities to create a couple Xbox One videos, and that they instructed them to showcase Microsoft products in a positive light, bringing up 2 or 3 talking points about the Xbox One features they were looking forward to, and said, hey, you should say that you like Rise Son of Rome. That in itself isn't a problem. The problem is that the end of this agreement said you have to agree to keep confidential at all times in perpetuity. I totally fucked that word up. Essentially, for as long as you have worked for us, anything relating to this deal. So you have to, to sum up, you have to sing the praises of the Xbox One, and you can't tell anyone that we're paying you to sing the praise about Xbox One. That's a lack of disclosure, and that's crooked as fuck.
Yeah, and to answer your question in chat about why do you think Bungie sold Halo for the best series ever for Destiny, they actually came out and said, like, the creators were like, we're tired of doing Halo games. We don't want to be pigeonholed to doing the same war. That's why they stepped away from it.
Yeah, a bit of a change to address in chat. When Bungie left Microsoft, and the people at Bungie who wanted to keep making Halo games created Studio 343.
Correct.
And the rest of the people who left with Bungie were tired of making Halo. That's why that happened.
Yeah. It was a more friendly version of Infinity Ward and Activision.
Yeah, that's actually a very great way of saying it. So yeah, that was one of the things that the FTC slapped Machinima around for. The other thing that the FTC slapped Machinima for was the fact that they were offering its YouTube influencers $1 for every 1,000 views they got for promotional Xbox One videos.
Cash money.
Yeah, so essentially create an Xbox One promo video with the same requirements. You can't badmouth Xbox One. You have to sing its praises. Oh, and you can't tell anyone that this is a paid advertisement. And that right there is the kicker.
Bullshit. Yeah.
That's bullshit. Now, we've talked about how GamePoints has a price, and it's really low. However, if Razer were to sponsor us, fine products from Razer, by the way, I would have to, in the interest of disclosure, in the interest of gaining people's trust, let people know that we know a guy who works at Razer, who are friends with him. In fact, Sean, if I recall, he was one of your roommates at one time.
Yes.
So,
yes, he was.
By all means, Razer, send us all of your free shit. I'll pimp your stuff out left and right. Just keep in mind, when you do that, I will also have to add on at the end, by the way, GamePoints is officially sponsored by Razer, and we actually know people on the inside. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Disclosure.
Which, by the way, we're not, and we do pay for our gear.
Yeah, we actually aren't sponsored by Razer yet. No, we are not. We pay for our own gear. We're not sponsored by Razer yet. I know I've said that a couple times already. But if we were, just be honest about it. Don't fucking lie to people about it. And that's the sticky widget. If Microsoft wants to pay me a couple $1,000s to talk about how awesome Halo 4 is, or Halo 5 is, pay me a couple $1,000. I'll tell you about all the things I love about Halo 5, not say a bad thing about it. But at the very fucking bottom down here, you're going to see this is a paid advertisement.
Yeah.
Just fucking disclose shit. Your audience is smart. They can make choices, and they can figure things out on themselves. They can choose to go, no, I'm not going to watch this. Or they can choose to go, hey, Thanks for being upfront with me about it. This looks cool. Fuck, don't lie to people. That's all I ask.
Don't be dicks. Be dudes.
Anyways, that does it for the news. It's one of those bugaboos that I had. I wanted to bring it up. I know it's full of legal jargon, and I could feel people's eyes glazing over because they just want to go show me the new Mad Max game or whatever. But that is
which
something,
we're not.
No, we're not. That is something that is very near and dear to my heart, is the lack of disclosure, because I think it would solve a lot of problems in the gaming industry, the gaming press industry specifically. It's like, yeah, okay, sure. You might have put only $5 towards someone's Patreon of a game that you're covering, but you know what? Let people know that. If you're going to call yourself a journalist, fucking disclose everything that might make it seem like a conflict of interest. If you're fucking living with the person whose game you're writing about,
also,
you can write about that person's game just fine.
You're going to damage your career doing that too.
Well, you would think. Put a paragraph at the very beginning that says, hey, this person is my roommate. Disclosure is never a bad thing. Even if you think it might be pointless, if there is any illusion of a conflict of interest there, just nip it in the bud. And if people were doing that over a year ago, most of the shit that's going on right now would not exist in the volume that it does currently. New releases for this week. Let's talk about something that we actually care about. Let's see what we got here. Dropsy on PC. Now, if you don't know what Dropsy is, you play a creepy-ass clown that loves to give people hugs. It's an adventure game from the fine folks at Devolver Digital, so you kind of know what you're going to expect when you get one of their games. Definitely take a look at it. It's very odd. I saw it at PAX. I really didn't know what to say about it. It just is. You also have the excellent Tearaway Unfolded coming out on PlayStation 4. This is a port / add-on / extra stuff that was found on Vita, the Tearaway on Vita. Definitely worth taking a look at. You also have on Wii U, for the 10 of you that own a Wii U, Super Mario Maker, which almost makes me want to buy a Wii U. Super Mario Maker looks fantastic. I have gotten hands-on of it. It's Mario Paint 2.
I was about to say, they really need to make Mario Paint 2. Because you know what game was awesome?
That
Mario
Paint game.
Oh, yeah, dude. Coffee guy or whatever. Like fucking
Coffee Break.
Yeah, Coffee Break. And, dude, making songs in Mario Paint was like the shit.
Yeah. No, Mario Maker is fantastic. Funny, though, people are making stuff with Mario Maker that's meant to be shared, and then they're putting it on YouTube to share people, and Nintendo is copywriting claiming.
Yeah, of course they are.
So
fucking idiots.
That's a whole nother discussion. But anyways, Mario Maker pick of the week, if I had to pick one, it's definitely worth your time to take a look at. I think it's damn cool.
Yeah.
Sean, what teams are going to Worlds?
Oh my god. Okay, so all the teams going to Worlds have been decided as of 2 days ago. I will start with North America. I'll kind of give you a rundown real quick. North America. So the third seed of North America and long shot is Cloud9. These guys had to run through a 5-team gauntlet. They were down 2-0 in a best-of-5 series, so they were one game out in the first round. Somehow came back and won that one. They were down 2-0 in the next round, found a way to come back and win that one, and then went on to win the tournament like 6-1 the next two series.
We talked about this last week, didn't we? About how they just were like the long shot, and they fucking Iron Manned it through.
Yeah, which God bless them, because like they're gonna get tore up in Worlds.
It's still an impressive story, though. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't even watch this stuff, but I hear that and go, God damn.
Insane. They almost played the maximum amount of games possible too, actually, in the Gauntlet tournament. Second place would be TSM, just from circuit points. They took first in spring, and they got second in summer. And then first seed to the North American split is the winner of the summer split. They put more emphasis on the winner of the summer split since it's close to the Worlds. You have a better idea who's good during that time period. And that's CLG going to their first Worlds. So congratulations, CLG, for finally actually being good. Europe, third seed is Origin. A lot of people know these people as ex-Fnatic players. It's run by XPeke, their mid laner. Very famous mid laner. He's been around since Season 1. I think this is his 4th Worlds, I want to say. So he's been there for a really long time. Second place went to points again with H2K. H2K's mid laner is Ryu, formerly of Korea. He's the dude that Faker killed in the ZvZ matchup. So he's going to his first Worlds. Really excited to see him play. Fnatic won both splits, so they're going to be their first seed team. Really, Fnatic's the West's best chance of a team beating or even getting out of the first round of playoffs at all. I would say.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
And once the brackets come out, I'll give you a better understanding of the percentage, the chances of one of the Western teams actually making it out of the first round.
You'll have the bookie odds.
Yeah. Korea, like I'm really happy with the Korean Chinese teams that made it out. All the ones I actually wanted to see came out, so that's good. Third place in Korea is KT Rolster. It's actually the organization's first Worlds, which is really tragic because in 2013 they were probably the second best team in the world, but didn't qualify for Worlds because they were a new team, didn't have enough points. So it's really cool to see them. They still have a lot of old guard from that team. Score's still on that team. Arrow is on that team. So a lot of good players on that team still around. I'm glad to see them finally make it. Ku Tigers got second place, and they're going to be the second seed. Ku Tigers is a lot of former members of Najin's Sword. So you have Prey, Gorilla, Nagne, Smeb. So you have like a lot of these old guard players that just formed a team. Like they basically got cut, and they're like, "Fuck it, let's make our own team." And they actually destroyed a lot of teams. And then SK Telecom, Faker playing mid lane, #1 seed out of Korea. They were going to go, period. They went on like a ridiculous 20 best of 3 streak, which is insane. China's teams, third place is Invictus Gaming. So Invictus Gaming has Kakao. Their jungler is phenomenal.
Kakao.
It sucked that he didn't get a Worlds last year because he's probably the second best jungler in the world right now. Probably third best jungler in the world right now. Debatable. It's really a toss-up between him, Spirit, and Dandy. Spirit's probably the best jungler, which sucks because he's not going. But really nice to see him go. He's a really fun player. This dude just goes hard all the time. Really fun to watch. So I'm glad Invictus is going. Second seed is Edward Gaming. They're pretty much been the powerhouse of China for the last 3 years. Deft and Pawn from Samsung White for last year on this team. They actually won champions last year on that Samsung White team. So
the problem is with Edward Gaming, though, is that they kind of cheat because whenever they're playing against their opponents, they can't really see them because they're all sparkly and shit, and it just blinds you from seeing it.
That was the worst reference of all time. It's not Team Edward. So, like, Jacob is, like, #1 seed. LGD is China's #1 seed. This team has Imp on it and Flame in the top lane. Imp was the AD carry that won Worlds last year. Really, he might be the best player in the world right now. He's showing up to games really hard.
Okay.
PYL, their support, probably the best support in China. Maybe the best support that's going to Worlds. That team is really, really dangerous. The Southeast Asian teams going are Yo-E Flashwolves. They played at the IEM tournament TSM won. They actually played them in the finals, which was shocking. Not a lot of big name talent on this team, but they play really cohesively. And then AHQ Esports Club is going to be the other team, which AHQ was actually at MSI. Their mid laner Wesker is really flashy looking, but he doesn't have the biggest champion pool. That's pretty much all I have to say about them.
I like the fact that they have Esports Club in their name. Sounds classy. It's like Gentleman's Club. It's like Peppermint Rhino.
I agree. I think the Turkey team, it was like Bashistas Esports Club was a good one too. The 2 wild cards are going to be one's from Brazil, that's Pain Gaming, and the other one's from Turkey, which is Bangkok Titans, which is by far the best.
It's also a good name
in the tournament. My pre-bracket, preceding guess of what the finals will be is going to be SK Telecom 1 versus LGD.
Okay.
But that can only happen if they're on the separate side of the brackets, which I don't know yet, tragically. But if
when will we know that information?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. So not next show, but the show after.
Yeah, I'll let you guys know too. I'll make a post about it.
Which is great because you're not going to be here next week. By the way, he won't be here next week. And it sounds like not much is happening. So
no, not
works out well.
Yes, I really want SKT. I've always been an SKT fan, even before they won Worlds in 2013. I'm not a bandwagoner. I've been a huge fan ever since I watched Faker 1v1 Ambition in the mid lane as Nidalee versus Kha'Zix in spring of 2013. Most of you motherfuckers don't even remember that game. Get on your game. But yeah, I'm a big SKT fan. I really want them to win again. I love watching Faker play. So I'm glad. It sucked that he didn't make it to Worlds last year because it really hurts the sport when your best player in the entire world doesn't go to Worlds. So last year, I feel like they took a big hit on it, but he's back this year. A lot of big names in this tournament, a lot more than there were last year. The talent's more spread. Last year, there was a clear winner. We knew who was going to win this tournament 2 weeks before the tournament even started. So this year, there's a lot of teams that could win. EDG looks good. LGD looks good. KT looks good. SKT looks good. If you notice, I named pretty much all Chinese and Korean teams.
Well, there's a reason for that. It's because they're the best circuit out there.
If anyone's going to throw a cog in anyone, like throw a wrench in anyone's cogs, it's going to be AHQ, I feel like. Either AHQ or Fnatic can probably steal some games. I don't think they're going to win the tournament, but they can steal games and play spoiler to some other teams like Dream. Like, I can see HQ beating Coup Tigers or something like that, which would be an upset.
Okay.
So that's HQ and Fnatic would be the two teams I'd really want to watch and see how they play.
They are your potential dark horse candidates.
I wouldn't even say dark horse. I'm just going to say they're going to play spoiler to some team.
Okay.
My dark horse for this tournament would, if I had to pick a team that I don't think anyone's going to, a lot of people will pick, it'd probably be either Invictus or KT Rollster.
Remember, the more bold and insane your prediction, the more awesome it is when you're right.
Well, I mean, LGD and T1 are going to be the obvious favorites. EDG is going to be good. I'm going to say my dark horse of a team that could win, is Invictus Gaming, just because they have a ton of veterans on this team. They know how to play from behind. And Kankao is just probably the best jungler in the tournament.
Okay.
So they have the best jungler. They have a position. They have a best player at a certain position on their team. So that can really help them out.
They are. Things are lined up in such a way that they can actually do some damage depending on how good they show up.
And like I said, once I see the brackets, I'll have a better understanding of who could get out that shouldn't. And like, because last year...
Well, right now it's kind of like trying to predict how well an NFL team is going to do without knowing what their play schedule's like. Just based on their lineup alone. If you don't know who they're playing and where, it's really hard to predict what's going on. So I get the confusion. Yeah, because the way it works, by the way, I'll break this down real quick too, is there's going to be... The way the pool works is there's going to be the first seeds can't be in the same bracket, and you can't have two teams from the same region. So basically, the first seed from Korea, China, Europe, and North America will be the 1 seeds in the 4 brackets, and then the next 2 teams will be the 2 and 3 seeds of Korea, China, Europe, North America, and then the 1 seeds from Southeast Asia. And then the last ones will be the wild cards and the 3rd seed from Southeast Asia. And then I think, hold on, it breaks down to a weird point where like it has different tiers of who can be in which groups, but you can't have 2 the same region. And then the first seeds from Korea, China, Europe, and North America will be in different brackets. Okay. Pools, not brackets. Well, we'll have more information hopefully on that soon by the time you're back on the next show. Anything you want to wrap up with before we end the show? I will say you missed a golden opportunity for a Transformers reference on one of your titles. So the Mercy one should have been I thought you were made of sterner stuff. I went with what the announcer in the Destiny Arena says. Because if you lose, he says there's no mercy in the Crucible or something like that. So I went with that reference instead. Though I get what you're saying. Anyways, this has been GamePoints. Thanks for watching us live. If you're currently in chat, we always appreciate it. You can join us live every Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here at Twitch TV/GamePoints. You can always watch the old shows if you want to catch up and just can't make it to us live. You can just go to YouTube and type in GamePoints and we pop right up there. Click on the channel and watch most of our archive stuff. It's also where we do the GamePoints Presents, which I occasionally will play through a game for 30 minutes to tell you what I think of it. Feel free to like, subscribe, and do all the YouTube stuff there. You can follow us on Twitter at GamePointsPC. You can email the show directly at GamePointsPC@gmail.com with any questions, comments, concerns, tips, anything you want, and I'll make sure your letter gets read on the air. You can give us a like over at Facebook at GamePoints Podcast. It's where you can also get updates if one of us is going to be missing, like David was this week. You can follow us individually. I am your host, David Brown. You can follow me at CapitalistPig21. You can follow esports commentator Sean Brown there at Vidisco_King. He also occasionally streams under that same moniker. Our third co-host, who currently isn't here right now, is David Smith. You can follow him at Palshafsatori. He is not going to respond to you whatsoever, though, so don't even bother. Once again, thanks for watching. This has been Game Points, and we are out of here.